Hello, Internet. What is going on? My name is Josh. We are here on bonus stage for Let's Listen, and we've got my good friend and colleague Alan of GameGrooves back here with us today. How you doing, bud?
I am alive.
You are alive. I was
Yeah,
gonna
this
like
is a
cautiously ask if you wanted to talk about how you're doing.
no, it was a I will say this, it was an interesting week. I got COVID last weekend, and I had my credit card information stolen, and I had a leak in my kitchen. So this week was really trying to get me down, but I was like, no, I'm gonna stay strong. We're gonna do this listening party. I'm gonna be pumped for this album, and so we're here. I really actually this is a great segue because this is the perfect time for a chill album. If anything, I need a little bit of lo-fi in my life right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, and it also just speaks to your dedication to the scene and helping out everybody. I know it's not a small task to put together a community album, especially with the rate that you're going at. So huge respect, and of course, thank you, and hope you're feeling better generally, and not like drowning and in debt, and also just in actual water.
Yes. No, I'm doing much better now.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the reason we're here. So this is Summers. This is a lo-fi tribute to Earthbound. Alan, what made you want to put together an album like this?
Well, I was somewhat familiar with the Mother series and specifically the music, having heard a couple different tracks over the years. There was a really great cover of Snowman that was on the Game Art Gifts album, that Stevie Viola did, that I really, really loved. And so I think it was sometime last year, I was just kind of brainstorming what album ideas I could pair with what genre ideas, and Lo-Fi Earthbound kind of popped up. And of course, I heard the wonderful Fuzzy Pickles album by Gamelark, so that was another. I'm sure it was another source of inspiration for doing a Mother Two album. Unfortunately, we had to push it back to this year, which I really all I knew was for sure I wanted it to be like middle or end of summer album. Like to me, it fit those vibes. Obviously, it's really important to have that with the title too. Summers, it wouldn't really make sense to release, unless I guess we're talking Southern Hemisphere, but it wouldn't really make sense to do it, fall or spring. So anyways, that was kind of the inspiration there. It's uh just finding the right vibes, for the summer. End of summer, things are winding down, the school's starting up again.
Yeah, people need some chill beats to study to, right,
That's
Ian
right.
Martin? Oh man, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, summer, like maybe next time you could do a winter's album in winter, and it could, instead of like chill beats, it could be, I don't know, like thrash metal or something, like some black metal,
Oh
like
yeah, that's
you know
gonna be the very
corpse paint in the
existential. Yeah.
forest and all that jazz. Awesome. Oh man. Well, I've listened to this album and I think it is excellent. It's got a really strong start. It's got a really sweet finish, and it's just like it's a vibe all the way through. I think you did a really good job of curating artists for this, and bringing a lot of talent, and props to, of course, everybody on the album who submitted their tracks, did an excellent job. This despite like having a community album where things can tend to be a little bit mixed up, like there's a very consistent flow and vibe throughout the album. It feels pretty cohesive. Yeah, and we're looking forward to actually talking to a good number of said artists tonight. Yeah, and I would love to just like dig right into this album, Alan, if you are super ready for that.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Right on. Cool. Well, coming up first, we have a track by Acapella VGM. This is Summer's Eternal Tourist Trap, the theme of Summers. Let's listen. What a beautiful, smooth track, and we've got the creator of that entire thing with us. Patrick, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super happy to have you. That opening track was amazing. I think that set the tone
Thank you.
perfectly, and yeah, I don't know where to start. This is our this is our first time interacting, so I'm really happy to meet you. I am a big fan of acapella VGM arrangements and stuff like that. Um, and you've got it nailed.
Thank you.
Yeah, what prompted you to cover the summer's theme specifically?
So it really worked out well because every summer, or at least for the last summer and including this one, I've been doing exclusively summer covers of video game music on my channel, and so I'd already picked up this track like a long time ago, ready to do this track, and then Alan put forth the idea for this album, and I'm like, okay, wait, I got to jump on this immediately. So I claimed that track first thing. So this is a track that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I almost did it last summer, but I just didn't have the time. So long time coming.
Wow, it sounds like you and Alan were on a similar vibe. He wanted to put together this album last summer. You were ready to do this last summer,
Yep.
but in the end, the stars aligned,
Yeah, it
and
worked out.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, gosh, I don't know. What is it like recording that many tracks of like just yourself? Like, do you get sick of hearing your own voice, or?
I mean, I honestly I love it. Like I love hearing the parts come together, just layering on top of each other. It's still, even though I've done this for years, it's still so satisfying every time I do a new cover. It's one of the things that keeps bringing me back. This doing an arrangement like this that's really hard jazz. That's kind of a new thing for me. This is kind of a venture into the style of music that I don't normally arrange. I was kind of consciously trying to imitate the style of groups like Take Six. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that a cappella gospel jazz group. That's what a lot of their stuff sounds like, and I was trying to mimic that style. So that was kind of a stretch for me, but I love recording on top of myself and doing all those layers. I mean, it's just really fun. I love, especially like when all of the choral gigs were canceled during COVID. It was my way of, continuing to sing and keep my voice in shape.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and you touched on something that I was going to follow up with as well, is because
Mhm.
in this arrangement, you've done some very clear, like hard work and a good job on reharmonizing some of those lines and stuff like that. And you were saying that this was a new venture for you?
Yeah, I don't normally do this kind of really advanced jazz harmony, and I want to thank a couple people that helped me. Actually, I sent this arrangement off to Chris Williams of the J Music Band, and also Tyler Meyer, who's an arranger who formerly lived in my hometown of Nashville. And I sent this track to both of them, and just to get their opinions, because I had tried to make some things happen, and I wasn't sure if I was, getting the vibe that I wanted. And they have very helpfully offered, okay, well, maybe if you do this chord instead here, it might help you get through that measure. And like I took several of their suggestions, and it made the arrangement a lot better, I think.
Nice, nice. Well, yeah, definitely shout outs for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the VGM community and the support
Yeah.
that people just are so willing to give.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, is this your first time doing a Game Grooves album?
Yeah, I
Or
believe
a
so.
community album
Yeah.
general?
Yeah, this is my GameGrooves debut. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congrats. I hope that you'll consider doing more in the future.
Definitely. And I hope I'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the future, where should people go if they want to see more of you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and most of the social media platforms at Acapella VGM. That's spelled with 2 C's and 2 P's, Acapella VGM. I do approximately 1 or 2 covers a month usually, and I do acapella music of all kind. So
Beautiful. Well, there's the YouTube channel in the chat for anybody who wants to go and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell.
Please do.
But like legitimately do that because I'm sure you will make very happy times with your decision. Sorry, that sounded like bullshit. Anyways, Patrick, thank you so much for making yourself available. It was really nice to have you here to talk about your track, and we're going to continue on with the rest of the album. But thank you so much, and we'll hope to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Patrick. Awesome, Alan. Yeah, that's a strong start. I mean, obviously, like, how could you not pick Summers for the kickoff to that?
It was meant to be, for sure.
Yeah,
Also, I hate to correct Patrick on this, but it is actually 2 P's and 2 L's. He said 2 C's and 2 P's. And I only know this because I misspelled his name, and now I've got to redo the sound drop submission because I messed it up. But anyways,
oh, no.
if you're searching for Acapella VGM, make sure it's Acappella, because there's 2 variations, I guess, and they're both correct, but he goes with the 2 P's.
Right
2P, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick is crying and kicking himself backstage.
I don't know if that's a good nickname, but anyways, there you go.
Oh man. Well, that's that's so beautiful. Yeah, and we've got more. We've just scratched the surface with the first song on this album. I think we're gonna listen to another 3 or 4 in a row before we come around to the next one. But we are gonna move things along here. Are you ready, Alan?
I'm ready, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, this next block of songs is going to be 8 Melodies by Metatron, Theme of Doko Doko Desert by Stevie Viola, and Theme of Love and Peace by Vector U. Yes, I see you lurking in chat. Let's listen.
I miss you.
it's me, your dad. I don't mean to butt in, but don't you think you should take a break? Like mother, like son, you are a hard worker. I made a record of your adventure. Don't work too hard, though.
Well, I am sufficiently chilled out. Yeah, those just put me in a mood. That's a solid first leg of the album, I'd say, Alan.
I would say so too.
Yeah, definitely.
Got real stanky.
It's as we all know, it's getting real stanky in the back room. We're just having a Josh, folks. No, that's really good. So let's recap here. We heard from Metatron, Stevie Viola, and Vector U. Vector U is in chat, of course. But Alan, what do you want to say about working with these three incredible artists?
Oh man. Well, Metatron has been on quite a few GameGrooves albums, and they have a very versatile sound. They have a real good feel for ambience, I'd say, and kind of almost a minimalist style, which I really like. Um, I felt like it was a good follow up to track one where you're really easing in, and then it's not kind of slightly unexpected. I feel like I wouldn't typically put a track like that for track two, but it worked in this case. And then track three is the one that really catches you off guard, where it's like that really groove and bass line. I mean, Stevie, I wish Stevie would make more music than they do, but I understand that they're busy with lots of other things like school, and real world stuff. But I really enjoy all their remixes, and they knocked it out of the park for this one. And as I mentioned before, it was actually one of their covers that kind of got me into Mother music in the first place with Snowman. And then Vector U, I mean, what can I say? I can't say anything bad about him because he's in the chat, but I met him at MagFest. He's delightful. Another very versatile artist. And to me, that track was kind of like the quintessential, lo-fi track. You know what I mean? It has just all those wonderful elements. And I guess this is a kind of a segue, but I feel like lo-fi is a I don't know, like it's more challenging than it looks, I think, for a lot of people that don't produce it, because it's like you're scaling down your sound palette, so you would think it makes it easier, but then it's like you're trying to create all these like cool little contrasts, and you're trying to keep the attention of the listener, and you don't have the usual tools that you would. So in that way, I think, Vector U is just really overall like a solid track as far as the arrangement goes, the overall structure. Lots of great little parts.
Yeah, lots of great little elements kind of weaving in and out there, and yeah, really dynamic as well. Yeah, and like you said, like restricting your palette, creating like a box for yourself to work in can be really challenging. But in some cases, it can also just kind of like clear away some of the clutter, right, and just help you really
Right.
kind of focus on this sound. When you created the idea of this project and started reaching out to artists, was it kind of like intentional that you would find people who were familiar with lo-fi, or did you want to just kind of open it up and maybe see who was willing to step up to the challenge?
Well, that's a good question, because you know as you'll find, like a lot of GameGrooves artists, let's take Say Sounds for example. They're again, I keep using that word versatile, and I think it's honestly like something you find in the VGM community at large as well. It's just people that just love to make music, and it doesn't really matter so much the genre or the style. And I think you could talk to even like video game composers that they're kind of musical chameleons. Like I remember listening to Austin Wintory talk about this in his interview with Roe. Um, just the ability to kind of create soundscapes. Like they don't necessarily always specialize in one sound. Like, Vector U might be more known for his like high energy EDM stuff, right? His dance stuff. But obviously he has a lot to say in other genres as well. And then you have some people like, Katie Scary, where they'll have metal projects alongside lo-fi, and same thing with Studio Nintendo with rock and lo-fi. So really I think my goal with GameGrooves is to give people an avenue to do whatever they want to creatively, and sometimes even if that's breaking outside their traditional sound, that their audience might be familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think that the box that you gave yourself to work within is also a bit reflected in the album art that you chose to put together. Did you want to talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah. I mean, I was fortunate enough to work with Emma Hawthon. She had done quite a few other GameGrooves albums. And I knew that I wanted, something with the beach, but we had just put out Divergent Waves in May. So I wanted to be careful that it wasn't too similar to that, because that was, waves on a shore with divergent waves in the sand. So I thought, well, what can we do? And I looked at the game map, actually, the area, and what really struck me was the color palette that they had for the
Mhm.
beach and the ocean was really unique. So I told Emma, please work with these colors when you're making the album cover. Then we kind of went back and forth on, what would be in the actual like shot, if you will. So we knew I knew I wanted an umbrella and chair. And then it was kind of going back and forth on, okay, we can't really include the characters because of Nintendo, copyright. Ugh.
Yeah.
So we had all those little elements. And then the last thing was text placement, which I don't know if it really matters to anyone else, but I really liked her solution of putting it on the umbrella. Because I didn't really like it having it just awkwardly hanging on the corner. So the way she incorporated it, it's just, it's an art to itself, album art is.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a Summers branded umbrella there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coming soon to Threadless. GameGrooves Summer's umbrella.
Hey, GameGrooves merch. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some, but we need more.
Branded umbrellas. There you go. Problem solved. You saw it here first, folks. Alan, I'm fully willing to continue listening to this awesome album. Should we queue up the next couple tracks here?
I believe so.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we've got just 2 songs here before we get our next guest on to talk with. But we are going to listen to Threed, Free at Last, the theme of Threek by Factory Floor and Katie Scary. And after that, we'll hear Boy Meets Girl, the theme of Tucson from Deontay George. Or is that, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, if it's Jorge or something. Anyways, we're going to listen to those songs now here on Bonus Stage. Let's listen. Oh, wow. Yeah. That track sent me to space a little bit. That was Boy Meets Girl, and we've got the creator here with us. Hello, Deontay. Nice to have you with us.
Uh, Hello, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so like what made you choose the theme from Tucson there, Boy Meets Girl?
Funny enough, this was actually the first track that I heard, like cover wise, that I heard from Earthbound from Laura the Flutist or the Flautist,
Oh
like
yeah,
way
yeah.
back in 2015.
Oh wow.
So like I knew when I saw oh, we're doing a lo-fi album. I knew for a fact it's like I have to call this before anyone gets it. So I was like, so I like emailed Alan. So hey, is the theme of Tucson open? And it's like, yep. It's like that's mine. So yeah.
That's awesome. Oh well, we love Lauren here on Bonus Stage. She is beloved, and I'm glad that she was able to influence you for that. Yeah, is this something that you do normally? Like, are you a lo-fi artist, or what's your kind of typical style?
Anything that kind of sounds good. I That being said, I do like write a lot of hip hop, jazz. Basically anything that kind of hears like, oh, I want to do that kind of deal, or like pretty much stuff like that. Usually lo-fi, usually digital fusion esque sort of deal. But yeah, a lot of chiptune.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, it's hard to not appreciate so much in VGM, right? The genres are just fluid and numerous, so it's hard not to be like, you know what? I'm just going to do this and that's it. I'm not going to do anything else. VGM is so much broader than that. And you were saying backstage where everything is stanky. Sorry, Felix. And, that you were actually having a pretty busy time while you were putting this track together.
Uh, so yeah, so when as I was writing this track, I realized that it's like I was getting close to the deadline of my master's thesis at the time. Like so, and also it's like getting close to like my final audio engineering exam, and also like, oh, I need to leave state in like less than like a week. Okay, this is going to be a difficult task, but I think I can get it done.
Oh my gosh.
So, but I'm here. It's still good. So
You
yeah.
did it. Was that just like just in under the deadline, or how did that?
Pretty much because I'm like very picky. Like I'm very picky about like what I'm writing because it's like, oh, I'm releasing this to people. I want it to be like just to the point where it's like, yeah, I really enjoy this. That to the point where I can like listen it to myself over and over again, even like after like all is said and done. So I just kind of just wanted to find that like really perfect medium where I'm not like overdoing it, but it's like it's like I really like enjoy this.
Yeah, it must have been a really relaxing process during all of that stress and all the the work going into like exams and moving and stuff like that, just to like be like, okay, now's the time. I'm just gonna work on my lo-fi. This is it. We're just gonna chill. We're just gonna put the headphones on and bunker down.
Lo-fi and not study.
Lo-fi and not study. I like that. Hey,
There's a new
wow.
brand right there. I'm
Yeah.
taking it.
Alan Summers, the song to not study by. Oh my gosh. I think Ian Martin might have something to say about that later on. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Deontay, amazing job on your track. Really love all the elements coming together for that. I think you did a really good job, and it does not show at all that you were crazy busy during the creation of it. So props to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
All right.
thank you all for listening.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, before we let you go, is there anywhere that we can send people to for more Deontay?
On Twitter, it's just at Deontay George, all like together with the D and G capitalized. And on YouTube, it's Deontay George Music. Those are pretty much the main things you can find me on. But yeah.
Right on. Okay, I'll get that link in the chat. But yeah, real pleasure having you here on the show today. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the back room. Oh gosh. Yeah. All right. Let me get that. Let me get that link here for Deontay's YouTube. Yeah, Alan. Well, what else did we have? We had Threed, Free at Last, theme of Threek.
Yeah.
And I know you corrected me because I was a little bit of a doubting Thomas there when you handed me the credit of Threek.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Nintendo. No, I mean it is Nintendo. That's just the way it's listed. And I've learned from my mistakes in the past when it comes to um track titles, you've got to match whatever Nintendo released. So if it's, I don't know if it was a typo or what it was, but that's what it was released as officially. So when I put the album through Easy Song, I put that title on because I'm not going to fight them. I remember the first Game Mark album, there was a Donkey Kong 64 track for Fungi Forest, and I listed it as Fungi Forest, and it's not called Fungi Forest. It's called Forest. And so it was rejected because Nintendo didn't recognize Fungi Forest as Forest.
Oh my gosh! And that
Yeah.
just puts the whole album
Nintendo.
back, right? Yeah.
I need a shirt that just says because Nintendo. Like that's 90% of the reason why things are done a certain way in VGM because Nintendo,
Because Nintendo. Well, you know what? They have carried us through some dark times, so I'm willing to
have.
play ball with them. And I appreciate you doing the same. At least, so that we can get amazing songs like this out into the world, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we've got another couple songs coming up here. We've got three coming up actually. We've got track 7 through 9. We're going to listen to Chill Side, the theme of Four Side by one Frederick Hoffen. We've got Lo-Fi Beats to Study to at the Onett Library, the theme of Onett by Ian Martin. And we've got the theme of Saturn Valley, personal favorite of mine, by Felix Arfin. So, shall we just dig into it here, Alan?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, let's listen. Well, that was really beautiful. Yeah, that nice block of songs. We've got Ian Martin here. Like the famed Ian Martin of like folk project The Travelers. Ian, I mean, super happy to have you back here, bud. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for doing this.
But I really wanted to pick your brain, especially only because, and this is not like a dig against anybody else. It's just that I know you as like a folk artist. You play live acoustic instruments. That is like very much a part of your musical identity. What was it like for you to be like, screw all this, I'm going to make a lo-fi track?
It was a lot of fun. I love recording acoustic instruments. Obviously I have way too many of them, but it was kind of nice to just put them all away and make something that just exists on a computer, right? I have no live instruments in this track at all. And so it was definitely a challenge for me. It was something new. I hadn't really done much of this before. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. So yeah.
Nice. Well, how did you like where did you start with that? I mean, like, usually most people start with like a foundational stuff of like drums and stuff, but like where did you go to find like your sounds and stuff like that?
So a lot of these are samples on this piece of software called Labs. And it's got a lot of different free sampled instruments. So I've kind of cobbled those together to make the sound of it. I have a friend named Tsuyoto. He's a longtime con roommate of mine, and he would put on these like lo-fi beats to study to in the room. So I got in our hotel rooms, right? And so I got used to listening to them over and over. And so when I was going through all of these different sample libraries searching for these sounds I wanted to use, it was a little more I feel like I guess rooming with Tsuyoto year after year after year kind of prepared me to like identify what I wanted to use, right? And kind of like when I started finding them, it kind of jumped. I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that and that and that. So then I kind of just put it all together.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, and as you said, Alan, like, a lot of the people that were on this album weren't necessarily like electronic artists or lo-fi artists or anything like that. So yeah, it's really cool to see people like yourself, Ian, just kind of like putting yourself out of your comfort zone and trying something new and doing something really cool with it. What inspired you to do the theme for Onette?
One of my like longtime friends from grade school is Brent. I think he's watching. Shout out to Brent. But huge fan of Earthbound, and actually got me really listening to and appreciating the soundtrack for the first time. Because of our friendship. So that was one of the tracks that really stuck out to me. And then when I gave the game like a very serious, thorough playthrough earlier this year, that was one of those things I was like, this has this like really cool groove. It's upbeat. It's fun. Like that bass line just got stuck in my head in like a good way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that bass line. And so I was just like, when this came up, I was like, I gotta do that. I gotta do Onette. It's just, or Onette, however you pronounce it, right?
Right.
But I just, that really kind of resonated with me. I was like, okay, what if we take this and just slow it way down? So yeah,
it's kind of like a plucky, like hometown feeling good kind of track. So yeah, to just like interpret it that way, that's super cool. I'm glad that also just kind of like means something for you and has been like carried forward into this year, and then just kind of like the spark went off. That's really cool, man.
Thanks.
Definitely. Yeah, and you worked on this all by yourself. Was there anything else like about this track that you wanted to say? Maybe, you know, like any digs you've got, any dirt on working with Alan or something like that.
It's horrible. Don't do this. No,
Got it,
no,
got
I'm
it.
kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, we're gonna end the stream there, folks. Yeah, sorry. Good night.
No, I honestly I love working with GameGrooves. I think this is my last GameGrooves track of the year. There's some stuff coming up next year. I don't want to spoil it, but I've just been really thankful to be part of this community. You know, Alan has made this amazing place for a whole bunch of us to come together and do our music, and that really means so much to me. Just to be able to do this, and the albums are incredible. Like I'm so honored to be part of this group and to make music with all of these incredible people. So thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone in GameGrooves. It's fantastic.
You're welcome. No.
And thank you.
Ian.
Well, also thank you, Josh.
No,
I know I've played
just...
on bonus stage. No, I'm serious. Like I've played on bonus stage several times, and I'm so glad to see you. I'm sorry.
No.
I couldn't have been at Mag West.
Oh,
but we will hang out again one of these days.
Yeah,
I promise.
I only said that because, like, whenever, I don't know, I'm like one of those obnoxious people at the show when the band is up on stage and they're like, thanks everybody, you know, I'll shout out like, you're welcome, like, you know, just be that obnoxious guy in the crowd.
No, that's why we love you, Josh.
Oh, thanks. We love you too, Ian, and thanks for being on the show. We'll catch up later in the back room, but I think we're gonna switch out our guests now, Ian. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and coming up next, we have one Felix. What's going on, bud?
Hey, not much. How about you?
Not much.
Just keep making it stink.
You said it first. All right.
I know. It's been the running joke of the whole evening, so I might as well carry it through to the end.
Oh, it's so funny.
Jeez.
Oh, Felix, your track, Alan, you were identifying this backstage while we were getting stank. That your track is kind of like the emotional pivot for the album. You use some very different sounds coming from, like, you know, where we were previously in the album. So I just wanted to say, first of all, great job, and ask you what this process was like for you.
It's a bit of an interesting process. What I can say is, thanks, Nintendo. Originally, I was supposed to do another cover from the Earthbound soundtrack. I was just pulling the whole soundtrack up on YouTube, found a track that I liked, and then I was working on it. And then Alan said, "Oops, sorry, can't license this track because it's not part of this album that was officially released." I was like, well, shoot, gotta find something else. So at that point, it was already kind of late. Everybody had already picked their tracks, and I was just kind of going through, and then I landed on the theme of Saturn Valley. I thought it'd be fun to give it, it was already a weird and quirky theme. I thought it'd be fun to just give it a bit of a darker, sleeker edge to it. There's like three things that I always look for in a lo-fi hip-hop track. 1, fat bass. 2, good drums. 3, killer hook. And the Saturn Valley theme had a killer hook, so I was like, okay, I can add the other 2, no problem. I can make this happen. I can make magic happen here. And it was so much fun. I had a blast recording this. It turned out really well.
Yeah, I'd agree. So, I'd say so and agree. But you were saying that you have like a bar for lo-fi. So is that an area that you're a little bit more familiar with personally?
More for me, it's more of like I'm a very enthusiastic fan. Like, I just love listening to lo-fi hip hop music, and I listen to so much that I'm like, one day I'm gonna do this right. I'm gonna make a project or a track or something like that. And then when Alan said, I'm doing a lo-fi Earthbound lo-fi Earthbound project, I was like, oh, okay, Earthbound, sure, yeah, I'll figure it out. But I'm doing lo-fi, so then jump on it and get working on that track for sure. So yeah, it was just something that I love doing and I love listening to, and I wanted to do my own take on it.
Yeah, definitely. No, it stands out for sure. It's the sounds that you use are they hit a certain kind of vibe, you know? Like I think we were talking backstage about like cruising down the highway and stuff like that, and like yeah, it's
Just a little over the speed limit. Just
yeah,
tiny
just
bit.
a little bit, you know. It's only because you weren't paying attention. You were just in the zone,
Yeah,
right?
it's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right, officer. Yeah. Oh man. Well, Felix, this is definitely not your first participation in GameGrooves album. I think we had you on last time we had a Let's Listen, but how many have you been a part of now?
This is now my third one. My first one was Select Adventure, which was a really fun project, and that one I did a bit of a lo-fi hip hop kind of twist on it too. But that was an album of original music. And then Malva Melodies was my second one. That one was just straight up jazz, and that was a huge blast. But and yeah, this was my third one. I look forward to many more. You know, some of the genres that we start planning, that GameGrooves starts planning for, are a little bit out of my area of expertise. But if something lines up and I'm like, oh yeah, this fits my wheelhouse, I'm definitely gonna be jumping back in.
Right on. Oh, Ian Martin. I'm saying this because I'm thinking about it for you, Felix. But Ian Martin, I forgot to get like a place to send people to check out more of your stuff. But Felix, likewise, where should we be sending people to go check out more of your work?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Twitter. I'm at Composer FA, F as in Frank, or Felix. But I'm also on YouTube there as well, and Instagram. But you'll find me most active on Twitter for sure.
Is that Composer FA on YouTube
FA. Or? Sorry. You know what? On YouTube, it's one of those weird things where it's an old YouTube name. So we'll skip that one. Just stick with
okay. We'll just send people to Twitter and we'll let them discover it for themselves. Well, that's really awesome. We are going to continue with this juicy chill album. But thank you so much for being on the show again, Felix. Lovely to have you.
Thank you.
All right, keep it stank. I just got him off just there. Oh my gosh. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh my gosh. Is this just like wonderful for you, or are you just kind of like cringing that people are like almost making your next album?
Oh yeah, I've got like the Marvel snipers at every window just ready to go.
Oh my gosh. Oh
no,
man.
No, it's all good.
Well, maybe before we continue, I'll just drop a link in chat there for people to go and actually get a pre-order of this album that we've managed to get like 3/4 of the way through so far. Yeah, so definitely head on over to Bandcamp. You can pre-order that. That is set to release tomorrow, or are we changing that?
Well, we'll have to see. It might be worth staying around the whole stream, you know, the whole Let's Listen party.
I mean, who knows what could happen? You're best off going and pre-ordering that now.
That's true. Pre-order now,
because if you
don't,
you
might get a special surprise later.
Yeah, like if you don't pre-order it and it drops like tonight, you're gonna like wake up tomorrow morning and be like, "Oh, I missed it."
I've been listening in my sleep, but you weren't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm not like missing another talking point before we continue on with the rest of the album. Let's see what tracks we got coming up next. Oh gosh, and we are super lucky because Studio Nintendo joined us at the last minute, and so we'll have him on after this block to talk about his track, which is the theme of Winter's Tessie. God, I love Tessie. And we're also going to be listening to Stuck in the Snow, the theme of Winter's Snowman by Lucas Guimarães, and the theme of Moonside by Saya Sounds. So yeah, we'll be talking to Studio Nintendo and Saya Sounds at the end of the next block. But without any further ado, let's listen. And we're back, and Sia's just put us all in like a super fluent and talking mood with that trippy track.
Man.
But, but
Man.
we've got Nick here, aka Studio Nick Tendo, who did the first track on that block. That was the Tessie theme. Nick, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing, I guess, as well as I'm gonna be doing. You know, all the circumstances that are happening in my house right now. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome, man. Oh man, yeah. Sorry to hear about all that, but yeah, we're keeping it on the up, dude. Your track is super cool. What made you pick the theme from Tessie?
Well, you know, as was mentioned before, similar to Felix, it was I had a song picked, and then as you know, you're waiting back on licensing now, and just basically said, "Hey, you can't do this song." So at that point, you go through the list, and then you're going through the list, and you see, "Oh, that song's taken. Never mind. That song's taken. Oh, never mind. That song's taken. Never mind." And so, I wanted to stick in the winner's theme, so I just started going through because I remember that was one of my favorite spots in the game, and so. The Tessie theme really stuck out to me, and so that was just what I landed on, and I think it did pretty. I think it did pretty well. I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember also talking backstage about how it's kind of like a deeper cut. Like you don't hear a lot of people covering the Tessie track, so it's really cool to see you doing it. Is this kind of like your realm, the lo-fi kind of vibe here? Is this kind of like what you do on the regular, or is this kind of fresh for you?
It's kind of fresh, I guess. I kind of started doing the lo-fi thing a little bit last year. Last year's when I started to enter into it. Mostly I've been doing a lot of pop punk, metalcore-ish, more heavier stuff, music wise. But last year, I had like 6 weeks off work due to unseen circumstances. So I just decided I wanted to try it. So I started doing some Zelda covers lo-fi wise, and that's kind of where I got my feet wet, so to say, and kind of been going with it ever since.
Nice. Yeah, well, you made some really choice sound decisions there with the instruments you were using, stuff, and like the space that you gave everything. So that was really cool to see. Yeah, have you played Earthbound yourself?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. You did say that the Winters was part of your favorite.
Yeah, I'm actually playing it right now. I've never beat it. I've never finished it. I always get to Winters and then I would just stop. That would be the habit. So I mean that's where I landed. But I've been playing it recently, and so far, where am I at? The jungle. I guess you could call it the jungle or whatever.
Oh man. That jungle is pretty stanky, I gotta say.
Yeah. Yes, it is. But that's where I'm at right now in the game, and so, yeah, I really love the game too. The game is phenomenal.
That's cool. So until this most recent playthrough, then like Tessie was essentially like the final boss for you.
Basically, yeah. You know, just I think I would get past. I would not Gaius, but Belch or wherever that part was, and then that was basically where I would stop after 3, and I would get to 4 side and then be like, yeah, you know what, I think we're done, you know, and then that was it. But I've gotten past that recently, so it's been great.
Oh, that's awesome. And is this your first collaboration with the GameGrooves community?
Yes, well, technically yes, but no. I was on another album, but I was featured with the Limit Breakers on 2 of their songs for the Sonic album. But this is the one where I guess you could say I'm actually doing it solo, I guess. But so technically, yes, I guess you could say.
Nice. Well, I guess that's why everybody's saying hello to the Limit Breakers in chat.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, dude, where should we send people if they want to check out some of that awesome metalcore stuff, or just more of the lo-fi stuff, whatever's coming next?
It's all on Studio Nintendo YouTube or Spotify. You can find me on Twitter if you want to talk, chat, whatever. But you just, like I said, YouTube, Studio Nintendo, Spotify, Studio Nintendo, all the stuff is there. You'll be able to find it and jam.
Right on. Well, thanks for managing to get on the show at the last minute here. Super cool to have you. You had an awesome track, and it's been really cool to talk to you too.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. All right, we've got Sia Sounds. up next to talk about their track, which was kind of a departure from what we've been listening to so far. How you doing, Saya?
There we go.
we go.
Can you hear me? Because
Yes.
I never know how this mic. Okay, yeah, I'm doing well, kind of low energy because I just got done with like a long day at the day job. So honestly, this has been the perfect cleanser for me right now.
Nice. Well, yeah, super happy to have you here, and of course, I mean, you also cleansed our palates on this album so far, and you were talking a little bit in the stank back room there about kind of like your process of putting together a cover of the theme for Moonside, which is kind of a unique track on its own.
Yeah. So originally I wanted to do, because okay, I've never really played Earthbound. I know Earthbound is a thing, but that's as far as it goes. But I wanted to cover the Sanctuary Guardian theme because of all of the TikTok memes, and that was the only one I knew because it was force fed to me. And much like it seems has been the case with at least a couple other people on here, we couldn't get the licensing to it. And it's like, okay, well, what else sounds like it's trippy and sort of in that regard? And so it's like, I just started like listening hurriedly through the soundtracks. Like, okay, I got to pick something that hasn't been taken. And I immediately arrived on Moonside. It's like, okay, this sounds good. And then after I decided on it, then I realized like, oh God, this is a really short track. How am I going to make this work for a long period of time? So I just started doing random things, whatever sounded right. I've done a little bit of lo-fi production before, but it's a fairly untapped thing for me.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I was like thinking, oh man, can I do some melodies? Can I figure out some kind of lead to go here? And nothing was working. And then after I got about halfway through my track, it's like, how about if I just save this, render it out, and then just resample my own track and start screwing with it in different ways and see what happens. So a lot of it was just really experimental at that point.
I mean, I feel like that's very much thematic to Earthbound, and like especially that stage in the game where like you're not entirely sure what's going on or where you are or how you wound up there. But but I think you kind of inadvertently perhaps like captured that essence in your arrangement of the Moonside theme. Yeah, do you have like the context of what that song is from?
I presume something about the moon, but that's literally all I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so and for anybody else in chat who might not be aware of this plot point, so in and we heard the theme from Forside earlier by Frederick Hawthorne. So you get to the city of Forside. It's like this big metropolis, and then you're supposed to go. I can't even remember what your objective is, but basically you go into this cafe and you find like some way into like this pocket dimension. It's basically like if there was an upside down in Earthbound, right? You're like in this world where every like all the color palettes are all kind of like inverted or like skewed and stuff like that. It's kind of a trippy place, and yeah, so like you pretty much nailed the vibe with your take on that theme. And knowing, of course, that you didn't really have a whole lot to work with in that theme either.
Oh, thank you. Also, I do have to shout out my editor who's in chat, Lindsay Liu, who said, yeah, the fact that I can make songs from games I've never played, thank you. And also, referring to your earlier thing, no, I can fit the fedora on the headset just fine, thank you.
Fashion intact, right on.
It's the way that the internet knows me is because of this, so...
Oh, lady. No, sorry. I'm sure you're not that type. Saya, I know this is not the first, nor do I expect it to be the last GameGrooves album that you have been a part of. But nevertheless, where should we be sending people to check out more of your stuff?
Oh, yeah. So I am conveniently known as Saya Sounds. I'm especially active on Twitter and YouTube under those names. I stream on Twitch, but I've been on hiatus because a million things have come up. Let's see. I think, yeah, what is it? Spotify will have me as that. Bandcamp, I only sometimes just post little sketches of what I'm doing on Bandcamp. or not Bandcamp, sorry, SoundCloud. Bandcamp, I do have. That is where I'm going to be posting more original works once I can get those out. I have an album of original stuff that is very close to releasing, and that's what I'm going to be using my Bandcamp for, as well as just whatever other originals. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, we're going to look forward to that. I've dropped the link to your YouTube in chat, and looks like you've got an Insta sub already. So
Oh, well, thank you.
congratulations on all your success, and thank you for being on the show today.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
You bet. We'll talk to you later in the back room, where you'll be. Sorry, just trying to spread out the use of that one word that we've been using so much today. Yeah, Alan, we're almost at the close of this thing here. We've got just 2 tracks left. Yeah, before we kind of like wrap things up, like I wanted to make sure that we're not like forgetting anything, any shout outs or any like comments that you wanted to make.
Well, of course, I have to shout out to James Hoffman for the wonderful mastering. James is just an integral part of GameGrooves at this point. I already talked about Emma's wonderful artwork, everybody on the album, of course, and just the GameGrooves community, both the artists, the fans, everybody. It's why I keep making these albums. But I was going to say something we were talking about in the back room. I'm very conscious about how I arrange albums, and starting with Felix's track, I feel like there was like a shift as we talked about. I kind of liken it to like day night. Like the daytime vibes are real mellow. Night comes, it's still mellow, but it's a little different, right? It's kind of like mysterious, a little trippy. You don't know what you're going to expect. So I really like that. To me, this album is anything but one note. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that could be a pitfall of lo-fi, is if it's not done well, it can easily get one note. So I wanted to say, of course, big shout out to all the artists on the album for putting all their effort into making great tracks, making it easy for me to do my job, which is to arrange all these into a nice cohesive listening experience. Also, I also think it's really funny that pretty much everybody loves to do lo-fi. Like, think about how many different artists and styles that dip their toes in lo-fi. You have everybody from like metal/metalcore to like electronic to jazz to even hip hop. Like, everybody kind of loves to play in the lo-fi space, and I think there's a reason for it. We can all just use some downtime, some time to like decompress, I guess. So I think that's kind of it's not just for studying, right? It's like the chicken soup of the musician's soul, I guess.
Well said, dude. Nice. Applause. Yeah. Let's get some of those clap emotes in chat for Alan speaking the truth here. Yeah, dude. No, I wholeheartedly agree. Just like being able to take all that extra stuff off the top, just chill out. All you need are the basic elements and just relax your mind. I think that's very much what this album is and what you've been able to curate. So props as well to you, of course. Yeah, we've just got 2 more tracks to listen to. We've got the theme of Gumi Village by Rusty Powers. Is this, am I mixing up the names? Is this the Rusty Powers who is also at Sounddrop?
Yes, it is. And that's why I was just saying, even people, if you know Rusty, his typical music is nothing like lo-fi.
I wouldn't have
he does like very ambient, like black metal and folk metal. And so he jumped at the chance, and I was like, yeah, go for it. Like I said, I love to give artists an avenue to express themselves that they might not otherwise have. So yes, same Rusty Powers.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Great,
well, yeah. He's given us the theme of Gumi Village, and we're also going to be closing things off with Smiles and Tears, the theme of ending by Game and Sound. Did you want to cut me off with this one, Alan?
No, go ahead.
All right, folks. All right. Thanks very much, Alan. Let's listen. Well, that was lo-fi as hell, man.
Quite the finish.
Quite the finish. Yeah. Game and sound, just bringing it all home, right? Like, oh, all the feels. That track is just like Earthbound, all kind of rolled into one big juicy katamari. But yeah, like the way that Game and Sound did it, that was really nice, really beautiful stuff. Yeah, that's the album, and as Alan has graciously provided in chat, there it is now live. So if
On
you
Bandcamp.
on Bandcamp, yes, soon to be on streaming platforms, etc. But for now, if you want to go and listen to that again tonight, 5 times as you're sleeping, you're welcome to do so. And to share it among friends and fans as well. I don't know. I'm trying to be a good host and find some way to summarize this entire experience. But Alan, do you want to save me here?
No, I was just gonna say, that track, it's the perfect ending for the album, but it also has another significance for me because I remember when Satoru Iwata passed, I guess it was 2015. There was a lot of covers coming out in the community, so that song is always like etched in my mind as kind of associated with him and his legacy. And I don't know, it's just kind of like a peaceful song, you know what I mean? Like it's a song of closing, but also like there will be more adventures, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's like a uplifting song at the same time.
Yeah.
And I know it strays a little bit out of the lo-fi genre boundaries, but if you know GameGrooves, we're like, it's more like guidelines and rules,
Yeah. Well, even just like with lo-fi, right? You gave yourself like a little room to play in, and if you break out of that room once in a while, that's totally fine.
We're not here to be genre police. That is not what I do.
Yeah. Alan, the hard ass. Yeah.
No, I just take
not
people's
lo-fi.
No, what I do is I make people scramble to claim songs, and then I tell them that Nintendo won't let them make them. So that's my strategy. If people are getting a little too cocky, I'm like, nope, Nintendo won't let you do it, and then knock them down, build them back up.
You just say that when you're like, no, what? I don't really like this person's submission. Sorry, Nintendo won't allow it.
Yeah.
You don't seem like that kind of guy to me.
Not at all.
No. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, to cap things off, folks, that's been Summers, a lo-fi tribute to Earthbound. Definitely go and get it on Bandcamp. Is there a timeline for when you might expect to see that on streaming platforms?
Yeah, if you want to stay up past 12:05 Eastern, that's when I usually drop albums. That's my secret. Yeah, I don't know why I do 12:05 and not midnight, but it's just so I don't freak out and accidentally do 12 o'clock p.m. or something on September 1st. Anyways,
one of those times.
So shortly thereafter, it should be in stores. It may even be there now.
Right.
But yeah, please go ahead and stream the album, share it. If you can afford to get on Bandcamp, that's great. The artist and I definitely appreciate it. Definitely goes towards creating future albums. And as I said, maybe the last time, we've got one more album for the end of the year. I don't think I'm quite ready to say what it is, but it will be coming out on Halloween. So that'll give you a little bit of a hint. Or close to Halloween, I should say.
Right, and we will be hosting a Let's Listen here on Bonus Stage again for that. I do hope. Is that correct?
That is the plan.
I think we had planned that. Yeah, right on. Okay.
I didn't burn any bridges tonight.
No, man. Hey, stank back rooms are made for building bridges.
Right.
And speaking of back rooms, why don't we get everybody in here for one last hurrah and a goodbye and a thank you. There we are, everybody who's joined us on the show here. We've got Ian, we got Felix, we got Deontay, Saya Sounds, Patrick, and Nick. Thank you all for joining us for this Let's Listen. And congratulations on a really great album. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Right on. And with that, we will cut to some choice outro tunes, maybe pick someone to raid. But thanks, everybody in chat for hanging out and supporting. And go get yourself Summers. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.